Hey everybody, it's your favorite host, Christopher Rennie, running extremely low on energy today. On this episode of the Chris Rennie Show, we are taking on episode 13, and guess what? There's a Friday the 13th this month. Too bad we're not talking about Friday the 13th stuff on this episode, but I will be giving out a special episode for that Friday the 13th. On this episode, though, we are going to be talking the NFL Draft. It's mock draft season. And it's not going to be the conversation you think. I am not going to give you guys a mock draft because I have not done any research on that yet. I've been looking at them and I've been finding what has annoyed me. I'm also going to talk about young NBA players. Fun. And then how the coronavirus is affecting the sports world. Not as fun. So, yeah, let's get into these conversations. I'm trying to chug down my Starbucks before this thing gets started. Get high energy. I love these national topics, but sometimes there's so much to talk about, you forget what you really like to talk about, and that's what I'm going to try to find today. So let's get into it. Subscribe and rate to the podcast. Follow the Twitter page at Chris Rennie Show, and like Mom's Basement Productions on Facebook for all things The Chris Rennie Show. As always, enjoy, and here you go. I can't do this anymore. What's this guy saying? Who gave these national radio hosts these jobs? Jeez. Can't even understand that guy. What's he even talking about? I can't take it anymore. Those national media personalities making you feel like that, make a change. Listen to this idiot about the sports that matter from the opinion that matters. Haha, you said it, not me. Now for today's takes from the most opinionated host in sports talk. Woo! Trying to get that energy up. Starbucks, shout out to you, reusable cup season. Just kidding, coronavirus is affecting my reusable cup usage. So I got a nice coffee today. And usually I go in, I have one of the nice plastic reusable cups. I like to use it for water. I like to use it for my iced coffees, obviously. It's getting warm in Columbus. We're plus 40 right now. I think we're actually in the 50s today. So exciting. It's feeling like spring a little bit. It's March. That's what it should be. Short winter. Probably not a good sign. But, I mean, spring. I like spring a lot more than winter. March 5th. So, yeah, no, we're looking good. Let's check the weather right now on my phone, and that's how we're going to start the show. It is 55 degrees outside. So once I saw 45 on it and I took a step outside, I threw on some shorts because it was sunny. I got a nice coffee because I wanted it. And, I've been loving my hot drip coffees from Starbucks and making my own hot coffee. But, there's just something about the irresistible quality of the iced coffee at Starbucks. It is so good. It is so delicious. You get that coffee. I throw almond milk in it with vanilla sweetener. And this isn't even an ad. I'm trying to get the energy up for this show. Only one way I know how. I'm not going to take a shot of pre-workout just for this show. I was going to try to get natural energy, make a smoothie, but my cups are dirty. So, yeah, now that's what we got to. We got Starbucks reusable cup. They didn't let me use it today because of the coronavirus, and that's actually a conversation topic on the show today. I'm not an alarmist. I'm not very alarmed. I'm even traveling during spring break, even though I'm not in college anymore. I'm still young. So I'm taking a spring break, going on a cruise to the Bahamas, flying out of Cleveland, small airport, flying out of Washington, D.C., not one of the big 5 airports in the United States. So yeah, we're staying regional. I'm not buying a mask. I think my immune system, over all the time I've built up outside, messing around, going days or without showering just because he forgets. You know, that's what happens when you graduate school and you have very little going on. So that's what's up with me. But something that's I've been doing a lot of reading this week. Not books, obviously. I already finished my one book for the year. So now it's time to sort of get into my mock drafts. And by mock drafts, there's a lot of them now. There is a ton of mock drafts. If you type mock drafts into Google, it's everything. Every day there's new ones. Cynthia Freeland, 2020 mock draft, Walter Football, 2020 NFL mock draft. You know, draft coverage is extremely intensive, right? And when I look into draft coverage, it's starting to get unbearable. You know, because in this media age where everyone wants to be different, where everyone wants to be right, there's a lot of discerning reports. There's a lot of differentiated opinions, all for the reason of just being right. And that bothers me. You know, it's the NFL draft. This is not one of those places like politics where you can come in and start throwing around your opinion. All right? The teams know what they want. Now, you draft websites, you report on what they want, not on what you think they need, because that's where I despise draft websites. You know, I have looked at a lot. Honestly, just go to NFL.com mock drafts. There's like 20 of them. And you guys probably thought when I said that in the preview of the episode that I was just going to talk about some of the mock drafts and my takeaways from them. I might do that. But I just want to show you guys how many there are. You've got Cynthia Freeland, I already said that name. Daniel Jeremiah, March 2nd. Bucky Brooks, February 25th. That's the worst one. Don't read that one. Chad Reuter, his is pretty good. His includes trades. Oh, Charlie Casserly, Maurice Jones-Drew. Maurice Jones-Drew is not a draft analyst. Lance Zierlein, I don't know his job. I don't know if he is an NFL media draft analyst. All right, let's see what they say on NFL.com's website about Maurice Jones-Drew. Full analysis. NFL.com analyst. Now, I get it, but as much as I respect Maurice Jones-Drew's football opinion, Maurice Jones-Drew making a mock draft is the same as me making a mock draft. He is not a draft expert. I'm looking at this. He has Jordan Love going number 6 to the Chargers. I highly doubt that. If the Chargers were to take Jordan Love, it would be a trade and in the late first round. Mekhi Becton is now being projected consensusly by most respected draft experts, Mel Kipers, the Todd McShays, is like 4th through 6th. He's got him at 10. All right, I get it. I mean, I don't think Andrew Thomas is a top 5 pick. Personally, I think he's going to be in that 10 to 15 range. But this is the point I'm trying to make. So at the beginning, draft experts were like Mel Kiper, Todd McShay. There's only like 4 or 5 of them. They did magazines, all that fun stuff. Yeah, cool. Great. All right. And being a Browns fan, I've always loved draft coverage. For obvious reasons. The Browns have been bad. I remember every year me and my dad would watch it with my brothers. We'd get food. We'd get wings or something. We'd get French fries. And yeah, and it was a good night. We'd wait till pick number 3 or pick number 6. You know, we were always pretty high, so we got to know who we were going to get early. I sat through the Brandon Whedons, the Justin Thomas, Justin Gilberts, the Johnny Manziels, the Brady Quinns, you know, the Barkevius Mingos. There's so many names that just don't hit. So every year, you know, ever since this has become more commercialized, more story-driven, more media-driven, the draft, it's getting tiresome. I don't need to know that Jordan Love is very similar to Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to compare the college stats right now. That's what I planned on doing the whole time. You know, Patrick Mahomes had Cliff Kingsbury, who's now an NFL coach, and Jordan Love did lose his coach to Texas Tech. Matt Wells left Utah State to go to Texas Tech. All right, so that is very, very, you got to keep that in mind. All right. But now you take a look at Jordan Love's college stats. His first year in the Mountain West Conference, all right, so this is not playing against the best team on a consistent basis. Had a really solid season his sophomore year. His sophomore year, 32 touchdowns and 6 interceptions with 158.3 college passer rating. It's a different statistic. 158.3 in the NFL is perfect, but then you compare it to like Dwayne Haskins and Tua Tagovailoa, doesn't come close to it. All right, so yes, he's a good athlete. He's got a good arm, but he's an extremely inconsistent thrower. Now, Patrick Mahomes, when you look at his college stats, you want to know how absurd his were? His sophomore year, he threw for 4,600 yards, 36 touchdowns, and 15 interceptions. Now, granted, those interceptions are tough, you know. But you know what he did the next year? He didn't get worse. And Texas Tech as a team got worse. But Patrick Mahomes did not. He threw for 5,052 yards and 41 touchdowns and 10 interceptions in the Big 12. And I know it's a no-defense league in college football. But the Big 12 still is better defensively than the Mountain West Conference. And that is an important thing to note. The level of competition. Jordan Love throwing 20 touchdowns and 17 interceptions, getting worse his junior year. Yes, he lost his coach. But Patty Mahomes continued to get better. And teams started knowing about him. They started knowing that he was he was it. He was the best player by far on a team of average players. On Utah State, that's the same situation, but Patrick Mahomes got better. The interception to touchdown ratio improved. So I don't need to hear that story. And I'm even going to compare him to another guy, a way more similar guy, to Jordan Love. Who do you guys think it is? Take a wild guess. Let's read Jordan Love's measurables, his height and his weight. 6'4", 225 pounds, cannon arm, decent athlete. Good athlete. Above average athlete. Who is it? It's Josh Allen. Josh Allen, 6'5", 233, solid athlete. First round, 7th overall. When you look at the 2018 NFL Draft, you know, it had some really good players. Baker Mayfield went 1. That wasn't consensus. Sam Darnold went 2 as a quarterback. He was taken 3rd by the New York Jets. Josh Allen, 7th. I think teams in this draft are less quarterback needy. I think next year there's going to be quite a few more quarterback needy teams. And you know what else about Josh Allen? You take a look at his college stats, and he had some injuries his senior year. 16-6 touchdown to interception ratio, 28-15 his sophomore year. That was his best year. All right, and that is the comparison you can make. Josh Allen wasn't in a wide open air raid offense. Wyoming has never been good at football at the FBS level. Josh Allen got him to a bowl game. Twice. I mean, it's real easy to get lost in the shuffle, you know. Every single year you need to have 1 or 2 really good quarterbacks. You need to have 4 or 5 quarterbacks deep. You know, in this draft, I don't even think Justin Herbert's really that great of a pro prospect when you really break it down. What he did in college was impressive. He was a long-time starter at a really good college in Oregon. What Jordan Love did in college, his talent, his tangibles are exciting. I get it. You know, we always want to be the first to find the next best thing. But that's not what I want in draft coverage. I don't want you to be guessing. I don't want you to be like, hey, Jordan, I want a realistic shot. You know, Patrick Mahomes was blessed. He got drafted to a situation that didn't need him to start right away. He got to learn for a year under Andy Reid. And Alex Smith was going to lead them to the playoffs. You know, that was going to happen. You're going to see how it all works. All right. And he played in that last game. They rested Alex Smith. They gave Patrick Mahomes the game, and everyone knew the writing was on the wall that this was going to be Alex Smith's last chance to succeed as a Kansas City Chief. And, you know, there's not a situation like that out there for Jordan Love. You know, there wasn't that situation for Josh Allen. You know, I think Josh Allen has a shelf life. Is he getting better? Maybe. He improved last year, but he still relies too much on his feet. He still misses too many throws downfield. You know, look at everyone was really high on Mitchell Trubisky. You know, Deshaun Watson was in the same draft. I could have told you just watching college football games that Deshaun Watson was a better prospect. You know, that's why the Daniel Jones pick was so surprising to me with where he went in the draft. And, you know, and it was very surprising. You know, you watch Kyler Murray play, you can just see him pop off the screen. You know, there's no challenge. He just does it different. And that is just something you really, really can't emphasize enough, you know? When you look at the 2019 draft, it was Kyler Murray 1, and then Daniel Jones. And I know for a fact, if you're a quarterback and you're taken, and every single fan in your fan base is like, oh my God, how do we take this guy? That's not exciting. And I know that's what people are going to do with Jordan Love. And I'm not here to just hate on Jordan Love. I'm here to hate on NFL draft, mock draft season, mock draft SZN season. And that is what I'm talking about. So, yes, I can easily just talk about the guy who has a ton of arm talent and upside. So many quarterbacks have a ton of talent and upside. You know, Jake Fromm doesn't have the upside, but Jake Fromm has a higher floor than Jordan Love, I can tell you that much. Every year we hear the same stories. You know, the running back has first-round talent, but teams aren't valuing it. They're not valuing that. What is it? Do they have first-round talent, or do they not have value in that first round? You know, it takes a special talent as a running back to get drafted in the first round. Don't tease me. Tell me how it is. Are they going to get drafted in the first round? Or are they not? I know it's a mystery. And you know, the worst part about it is these mock draft people act like they know exactly what the picks are going to be every time they release a mock draft. They don't. You know, that's why I like Todd McShay. He doesn't claim to be a guy who says he's going to get it right every time. Mel Kiper doesn't think he's going to get it right every time. They project from the information they know. Other people aren't even really doing that research. They're taking what Mel Kiper's doing. They're taking what they hear about a player and be like, oh, I like this guy. Put him there. That's not how that works. You know, NFL.com. Like, the Maurice Jones-Drew thing bothered me. He's not a draft expert. He doesn't dedicate his whole year-round life to projecting draft picks. Why do I need to see his mock draft? Right? So what do I want in draft coverage? First off, I just need to know the blue chippers. The people you can't miss on. The Chase Youngs, the Jeff Okudas. I need to know why they're blue chippers. Isaiah Simmons. You know, you can see it. It pops, you know. I don't need to keep hearing about that. You know, after I know they're blue chippers. Let's delve deep into this. Let's start evaluating quarterbacks more in-depthly. You know, let's start finding those under-the-radar players who are going to make a difference. Tell me about them. I knew Tristan Wirfs. Not a lot of people did. Dude's a freak athlete. How does no one know about him until the combine? You know, everyone wants to know, the quarterbacks. Yeah, that's great. You know, we all know the quarterbacks. It's pretty set. Joe Burrow's going number 1. Tua Tagovailoa is going to be the second one off the board. You know, so that's just, I want to know the blue chippers. The next thing I want to know is in-depth analysis on the under-the-radar players. They're under the radar because the mainstream media doesn't know them. You think Maurice Jones-Drew knows who Mackie Becton was before? He might have heard of him. But you think he's evaluated hours of tape on the guy? I don't. Oh, man. So, I mean, like, NFL draft coverage, to me, has become sort of a joke. There's one site I always like when it pops up on me, you know, and they're just NFL draft stuff. They're year round. It's a pretty good website. I wish I could shout them out right now, but whenever they pop up, it's like, hey, break it down. So continuing down this path of what do I want? I just want real analysis. Like, I don't need you to tell me Jordan Love can throw a ball far. I can see that. I need you to tell me his weaknesses. I don't need to know the strengths. The strengths are why people are talking about him as a first round pick. I want to know why he's going to fail, not why he has a chance to succeed. And then real time information. Let's keep us updated. Adam Schefter, does a great job. All these insiders are doing a better job than draft experts. How? Come on, do your job, right? That's all I gotta say. I hate mock draft season, honestly. Yeah, mock drafts, just, it's not mock drafts themselves, it's just the emphasis people put on them, And how many people need, it's just the fact we're in this information age. Everyone needs to know everything as soon as they can. And that, that's a big reason that mock drafts are they're bothersome to me. All right. So this is an interesting topic, and, I am not an alarmist. I said that at the beginning of the show. I'm not an alarmist. I am a realist, and that means when you look deeper, this virus it's been pretty impactful, all right? So you just pull up the headlines. The coronavirus has disrupted sporting events around the world. Why it's doing this, and in different countries it's affecting people at a different rate. So this is a huge one because this involves everyone from around the world on a smaller scale in Columbus. And it's not even that much on a smaller scale. The Arnold Classic is one of the biggest sporting events in the world, and it has the most sports compete at the event. It's bigger than the Olympics in that way, So it's an insanely huge event for bodybuilders, for powerlifters, for strongmen, fitness, figure, whatever competition you're doing, it's huge, all right? So there are so many different champions. My girlfriend was a cheerleader. They do a cheer competition at the Arnold. They do so many sports. So many sports. It's in Columbus, Ohio. It got canceled. So that sort of moved me into the direction to talking about it on the show today. This Washington Post headline, will coronavirus cancel the Olympics and other big sporting events? Will it? I don't know. But the Olympics are looking like they're in trouble. Reading this article, individuals in hot zones keep a distance of about 3 feet between one another at all times. MGM, Eon, and Universal postponed the release of the new James Bond movie, No Time to Die, to the fall. And Italy declared that all sporting events in the country will take place without fans present for at least a month. This story is from Kari Broussard-Stews and Heather Dichter from the Washington Post. There's so many stories surrounding this conversation, They brought up the 1991 Special Olympics game where 16 athletes were diagnosed with measles after participating at the event in Minneapolis. As vaccination rates have increased, that sort of threat is down a lot. But the coronavirus is a new virus. And I'm going to take the Jurgen Klopp approach. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I mean, obviously, wash your hands. That's just the start. I'm not a doctor. Jurgen Klopp's not a doctor. So I'm discussing it from this point. I just wanted to open up your eyes on how this is affecting the sports world. Another one they compared to it that was talked about in this article was the Ebola virus epidemic. And that one's horrifying. Ebola's fatality rate was around 50%. Absurdly high for a disease. It is an extremely lethal disease. The coronavirus is at 3.6% for people who've contracted it. And it's going down every day. I think the last one I saw was at 3%. So that's a good sign as well. One other thing I saw actually before I continue on with the discussion topic is the fact that most people who have gotten it have recovered around the world, and that most people didn't even notice they had it. So that's good. But the people that you need to worry about are the 65 plus, the immune deficient, like sick people, people with cancer, people with other diseases, and children, small children, like ages 0 to 5 is what I think I saw. So then remember in Brazil, the Zika virus? Yeah, that was a weird one. Some travelers didn't attend it, but people said, oh, it won't hurt you. And then everyone's like, if you get Zika, you can't get pregnant. Yeah, that was... Yeah, but why would you be traveling all the way to Brazil if you were pregnant? So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, but this whole event and this Olympics getting canceled... The Olympics, if I remember, are in South Korea this year. Tokyo. Yeah, so what are the... Like, it starts July 24th. The Olympic president... what was the Olympics? The IOC committee... The IOC president's name. It was a pretty good one. It was like Dick Hammer. Maybe it wasn't Dick Hammer. Dick Pound, that's his name. All right, so Dick Pound is part of the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, and he was the first president of the World Anti-Doping Agency. So Dick Pound gave a 90-day length to decide on if they were going to continue forward with having the Olympics. And obviously there's questions surrounding it. Are they going to have spectators? Are they not going to have spectators? We don't know. I think it'd be really weird watching the Olympics on TV without spectators, even though that happens a lot anyways. Burn, roasted the Olympics. Serious topic, though. We got to keep it serious. Yeah, so it's just had a very major impact on the sports world. I know Italy has banned sporting events, people from attending sporting events. That's a really big deal. In the United States, we haven't been hit as hard, but in spring training, fans have advised not to sign autograph balls. They're getting balls in the dugout, and then they're able to throw them to fans. So that's I think they should just do that anyways, and then add that to the signing of the baseballs. But yeah, it's been crazy, and just looking through some of these headlines, sports teams brace. Chicago State University didn't even travel to the West Coast for their last two games, and just looking more into this and getting deeper into this, it's looking like there's going to be a lot of sporting events canceled. For the work I do, it's in supply chain, so that's already being affected a ton. I know teams traveling to Italy are nervous. I know UEFA's got interesting issues with China's World Cup qualifying, in the UFC. Some Zhang, I can't remember her first name, but she's fighting, Weili Zhang is fighting Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and Jędrzejczyk made very, very offensive remarks to Zhang about the coronavirus. So it's affecting the competition, it's affecting how people are treated, it's affecting teams, and the NBA's advising players to opt for fist bumps instead of high fives when interacting with fans. I touch my face a lot, and that's probably a reason I don't get sick often, is because I'm always scratching my face, I'm always rubbing my forehead, I'm always playing with my hair. The NCAA tournament's a huge American sporting event, and I brought up the Arnold Classic first because that gets as many people to a one single place, and that's a worldwide international competition. And it's going to hurt Columbus's economy a lot because there is a demand and there is an influx of travelers who always come for the Arnold Classic. And that is not going to happen. And that means communities that are relying on the tourism that these large sporting events brings in are going to be hurt by it, hurt by the lack of travel. A lot of countries rely on tourism for their economy. They're going to be hurt by this. So it's a big issue, and I am not an expert in the medical field. But there's racism because of it. There is a lot of problems with logistics because of it, and there's a lot of problems with just having events in general. I think really looking at it, it's just tough, man. They already canceled the Tokyo Marathon. They narrowed the field to elite runners only. There's just so many sports being affected. And, the places that have outbreaks, of course, have places where the coronavirus is outbreaking a lot, Like Juventus is in the Champions League, AC Milan is in the Europa League, so there's going to be a lot of places traveling to those teams. The United States, it's about to be the biggest time of the year for college basketball. You don't think people are going to travel? So yeah, no, it is tough. It is hard to honestly find the perspective on this. And I'm not like a person who's scared of it, but there are obvious legit effects. Like, let's just open up my Robinhood account right now. And the amount my stocks have gone down since this outbreak has hit have been out of the ordinary. I am down again today, $2 more. If I didn't put in $10 more, I'd be down to like $39. And that's small scale, but think about all these people who are like relying on the stock exchange for a good portion of their wealth. You look at the Dow Jones over the past month or so. It's been pretty tough. This has been the worst the economy's been under Trump. That's like, you just look at this is just, let's do the 1 month. Yeah, so at the beginning of the month, we were at all-time highs. Now we're at 27,000. There's a slight uptick. Don't get me wrong, a lot of the investing down on mine is because of my bad investments. But it also is because of the disease. And, I'm going to find that excuse and I'm going to use the hell out of it. All right, but this past week I'm up. I'm in the green this week. All time, I'm still down. I'm down $10.11 the past 3 months. Or I guess the past month. I haven't been doing it this long. So I've got a lot of holds. That's fine with me. All my stocks are down today. I bought Chesapeake Energy, 68 shares, 23 cents a share. So that's a big one. Aurora Cannabis, I thought investing in weed was like a surefire thing, but the market's in a bubble, so that thing's probably going to crash soon, and then we're going to find out the real players. And if I guessed right with Aurora Cannabis, I'm going to be a very rich man as it continues to drop. I'm at it. And sorry for getting off topic, but there's real effects around the world. And, locally, the Arnold Classic got canceled. Internationally, international soccer matches are being canceled. And it's a tough conversation, And it's one that I'm not an expert in, but I just wanted to talk about it on my show because it's an important topic. Something you need to bring awareness to. So wash your hands. Stay 3 feet apart. Fist bump. No handshakes, Don't lock yourself in your room because then you won't be exposing yourself to germs and you're going to be weakening your immune system. It's not time to go doomsday prepper. It's time to go reasonable thinker. Avoid highly populated areas. And avoid places that are left cleanly. The virus cannot survive without a host. It's a virus. That's how that works. Hand sanitizer doesn't kill viruses. Water does. So wash your hands. I'm still hand sanitizing just because it makes me feel clean. But yeah, no, it's coronavirus. I'm traveling. That's how unscared of it I am. It's an alarming thing, but the regular flu is as effective as the coronavirus. The only difference is we have a flu vaccine. And we have vaccines for all the major flus that have happened. Once we find the vaccine for the coronavirus, which is a highly adaptable disease, we will be set and we'll be in the clear. But that still doesn't change the fact that as people get more and more affected, the hospitals are going to be a little bit overfilled, which means getting treatment's going to take a little longer. And the resources are going to be a little bit shorter on the supply part, because supply sometimes does not equal demand. And that's what I learned in Principles to Microeconomics in college. The Ohio State University. Check that off your list. And if you play the Ohio State drinking game, listening to this show, take a drink, because I said Ohio State 3 times. That's 3 drinks. Go Bucks. That's 2 drinks. So here we go. We might add a topic. It's this short show so far. So I've been seeing this around lately. So, how do we start this one? There's a lot of young players in the NBA, a lot of really talented young players. Starting with guys like Trae Young, you see all over Instagram all the time. Bam Adebayo on the Heat, he's been sensational. He was in the dunk contest. You just go around, you look at stats, you look at standings, and a lot of these guys aren't, the best young players under 25. It's a long list. Oh, man, this is not working out very well. All right, there we go. You look at the 25 under 25. It sucks because you're looking at these stupid Bleacher Report slideshows, because this is all Bleacher Report's good for, is top 25 list. I swear to God. Their coverage for sports is abysmal. The fact that Lefko is their best personality is a reflection on their company. This is actually old. We're not going to do this one either. This is an old one. So let's look deeper. Oh, okay. We'll go CBS Sports. I like them. When was this published? Is Giannis still under 25? October 11th. This is a year old. Oh, no, this is this year. So, yeah, all right. Well, Giannis is good. Giannis is up there. But I'm talking even younger than that. So, I think, this is my list. This is my top 5. We'll go there first. So, my top 5 young players, and this is to build your team around, are Luka Doncic, Zion Williamson, Jason Tatum, Ben Simmons, and Ja Morant. I think those 5 players this year have proved that they are legitimate building blocks for franchises. When you look at the NBA standings, it's sort of reflected in the fact that not only are their stats impressive, but their teams are in playoff contention, their teams are playing at a high level, and it's partly because of them, and they are not taking away from their team. Like the Grizzlies before Ja Morant got there were not making the playoffs. He made them that much better. Jason Tatum has become one of my favorite players to watch night in and night out. Zion Williamson's a walking highlight reel, and he always makes the hustle plays, which is something you can't really teach. And then obviously there's Luka Doncic, who seems to be like the most skilled player to ever grace the basketball court at his age. And then Ben Simmons, to me, is number 5, and I think Joel Embiid is getting in his way. So when you look at the young players to build around in this league as a whole, what to me defines the best young players to build around, right? That's what you want to know. And I think there's 2 aspects. There's the star power, which then you go down the list, there's a lot of guys who have that star power. Trae Young is one of those guys. Karl Anthony Towns is a star. Devin Booker's a star. Donovan Mitchell's a star. So, yeah, and I think there is a youthfulness. I think once you're 24, 25, you're closer to your ceiling than your floor. So, guys like Kristaps Porzingis, close to their ceiling. Donovan Mitchell, he's 23 years old. He's getting closer to that ceiling. And, yes, you're going to improve little parts of your game, absolutely. But at the end of the day, it's more about they'll increase their efficiency, they'll increase their comfortability on the court. But it's all about extremely high upside. And, you look at Giannis. Giannis is there. Giannis is at the peak of his power. Nikolai Jokic is at the peak of his power. So they're not in the same category as the guys I brought up. Giannis is just a little older than Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is the only old guy I have on this list, honestly. So the fact that Ben Simmons is the same age as me is sickening. The fact that I'm as old or older as Devin Booker is sickening. And the fact that I am older than Jason Tatum. I am legitimately older than Jason Tatum. So that's also alarming. I'm just looking at this list. This is all right. This is making my stomach hurt. I don't think that's right. Trae Young. I've been drinking for 2 years. Trae Young just got to the point where he can drink. So obviously, I am not really happy about looking at this list, but it's the way it works. All right. So yeah, Zion Williamson jumped off the screen when he was in college. He jumps off now. But yeah, you look at these young players. What is a young player? What does it mean to be a young basketball player in the NBA today? It means you're going to get a lot of virality. It means you're going to get a lot of publicity. When you can do cool stuff like Trae Young or Luka Doncic or Zion, you're going to get a lot more notoriety than some of these other young players. Ben Simmons can't hit a three, but he is still one of the most effective point guards in the NBA. Jason Tatum has the Celtics playing at an extremely high level and competing for that 2 seed in the East because the Bucks are so far and away the best team in the East this year. Very LeBron James-esque of Giannis to do that. And then, yeah, but I think the way Jason Tatum's improved, the way Jason Tatum continues to improve, and the way he's sort of become the number one option through ability and not just the fact that he was a high draft pick. You've got guys like Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. You've got Gordon Hayward, who was supposed to come in and with Kyrie be a dynamic duo. But with all that's happened there, Jason Tatum is their best basketball player. That's why this list is the top 5 I'm going to build around. All 23 and under. Luka, Zion, Ja, very, very young. Jason Tatum's 21, 22 years old. Ben Simmons, 23 years old. So, yeah, it's something you do have to look at. And these guys are all the hype. They are good. They all have their teams in the playoffs right now, except I want to say Ja Morant's just outside of the playoffs right now. Nope, they're the 8th seed. So, you see these young guys coming in. It's youth movement. LeBron talked about it. And that's awesome. The league's awesome. But it's still ran by veterans. Look at James Harden, the 4 seed. Kawhi and Paul George, the 2 seed in the Western Conference. You look at the Raptors, their best young players, Fred VanVleet. So that says a lot about that team. The Celtics are an older team outside of their stars. The 76ers are the 6th seed. The 7th seed is the Nets, and they're 27 and 34. So that's sickening. The East does not have the same amount of young stars, so, And then you look at the young star, and Trae Young his team's 19 and 44. Zach LaVine is absolutely having a career year, and his team's 21 and 41. So it's not only about being a star, it's about winning too. And that's why they're my top 5 young players to build around. And I've been seeing that conversation a lot. But to me, that list is the only one that makes sense. These guys play defense. They play hard. They challenge the older guys. And they have no fear when they play. Zero fear in any of these guys' eyes. Except Ben Simmons when he lines up to take a 3 or a free throw. That's the only fear you see in this group of 5. And that takes me into this next segment. Is the Zion hype really worth it? And how good can he be? Oh, man. I got a little energy to just throw it on. Talking about a world epidemic is pretty eye-opening and pretty awakening. So, Zion Williamson, he's come in and he's made some noise. Zion, he's big. He's got more highlights than some of the players who have playoff teams. He's making the fight, You look at his stats so far. Man, 17 games, 24 points per game, 6.8 rebounds a game, 2 assists per game, 58% from the floor, 41% from 3, 64% from the free throw line. That'll get better. But his player efficiency rating is a 24.8, which is on that LeBron and Giannis level. So what is the floor for Zion Williamson? This is the floor. Where Zion Williamson is at right now, to me, is his floor. Until he's like 35 years old. So he's playing just under 30 minutes per night. He's very efficient. A lot of his points come from dunks and putbacks. So he isn't creating much of his own offense. Second chance opportunities are creating his offense. Transitions creating his offense. And, that game when he hit the 4 threes to open up his career, his first game, he had that huge second half. That's big time, But when you watch the Pelicans play, and I've watched them play 2 times in the last week and a half or so because of the Lakers playing them, and I'm more interested in the Lakers right now because they're a legitimate finals contender. But it's been fun watching Zion play. I actually watched the Pelicans play the Mavericks last night, and that's sort of what led to me talking about this on the show today. So Zion's hype is legit. Zion's going to be a perennial all-star. There's 2 things everyone's worried about, his weight and his health, and those kind of work hand in hand. But in my notes, and from what I've been watching, I have called Zion Williamson an opportunistic basketball player. See, when LeBron plays, he is an opportunity creator. When Zion plays, he takes advantage of opportunities that are created. And that's put-back dunks, that's pick and rolls where Drew Holiday finds him, that is lobs. He makes the most of the opportunities he's given, and that's a great skill set. But what takes you to that next level of greatness? And this is where some of these guys on this list. So Luka Doncic, opportunity creator. He is a guy who sets up his teammates, creates his own opportunities, passing the ball, running down the court, that's awesome. I'd say when you break down what Zion does, 4 or 5 of his baskets a night come from him creating his own opportunities. Shoots a lot of free throws. Those come from him creating his own opportunity down low or him getting a rebound and going right back up with it because he has that extreme athleticism. But the point I'm trying to make here isn't that Zion's a bad basketball player because of it. It's just his hype doesn't make the team better. When I'm watching the Pelicans play, Drew Holiday makes the Pelicans a better team. With his defense, his effort, his ability to keep the ball moving on offense. Zion doesn't make him a worse team. But Zion's stats come from the other players. And that's where Zion's hype to me has sort of misled a lot of the public audience. And it's flashy, and he jumps a lot. But when the game came down to it, when he was playing LeBron, and everyone was relying on Zion, it sort of went flat, He doesn't have enough weapons in his arsenal yet. He doesn't have that ability besides strength. And when you get good NBA defenders, that's not always going to work. There was that video circulating where Zion tried bodying up LeBron. Mr. Zion Williamson, LeBron's 6'9", 265 pounds. You're not much bigger than that guy. And he's longer than you. So, there's players with that type of body. And there's players with a lot of length. And length has bothered Zion. In college, remember Taco Fall, and in the NBA so far. And that was one thing that bothered LeBron when he first came into the league. LeBron developed a consistent three-point shot. Zion's got to work on that mid-game range, just to have it in his arsenal. And right now, when I have to look at a more complete basketball player, Jason Tatum's a more complete basketball player. Doesn't mean he's better than Zion long-term. Doesn't mean he's going to be the star Zion is, because he can't do what Zion does. He can't dunk like Zion. He can't jump like Zion. He can't rebound like Zion. But I think what will separate Zion is when you start seeing him creating opportunities rather than taking advantage of opportunities. When a team turns the ball over and he gets in transition, that's taking advantage of the opportunity. When he's blocking the shot, then running in transition, that's creating an opportunity. And he does that. He has his moments where he is the creator of the opportunities. The best players in the NBA control the tempo of the game. Luka Doncic has that. Ben Simmons has that. LeBron James is the leading example of that, where if LeBron wants to play fast, the game's going to be fast. When LeBron wants to slow it down and play in the half court, the game's getting slowed down. Zion plays 100 miles all the time. And when you can change tempo, and I know that's a term in basketball when you're dribbling, you like to change tempo. You don't want to be going full speed the whole time. You want to slow down, speed up. You want to keep moving and all that. So, yes. And I think Zion's going to be really good. But to be great, that's what he's going to have to become, is an opportunity maker and not an opportunistic basketball player. So, to close out my show today, I got a text mid-show, and it is a fan question, and it is Cowboy-centric. So, my Auntie Liz, texted me. She said, "Think your next show should be about wide receivers. My Cowboys need one." And she also added to that, "I don't want Chase Young going to Washington." And if I'm a Cowboys fan, that's my biggest nightmare. So you better hope Chase Young slips a little bit, at least past 4. Because the Giants, you don't want him there either. And you do not want him in Washington at 2. So when you're looking at NFL receivers in the draft, what are you looking for? You know, I don't think there's a lot of great free agents, but in this NFL draft, there are a ton of great wide receivers. So, you know, you got guys like Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs III, guys like, you know, CeeDee Lamb's there, Laviska Shenault's a guy, T. Higgins, Justin Jefferson. There's a ton of wide receivers to take. When you look at the draft order in that middle round, I think if the Cowboys, so they've got Amari Cooper, I'm pretty sure. I don't know what because I'm pretty sure they re-signed him to a big contract, and a lot of people were giving him crap for it. You know, when you look at the draft order, the Cowboys are fall in the middle. They've been there quite a few times. Let's keep it rolling. Where they at? They made the playoffs, right? Yeah, they did. Yeah, so the Cowboys are the 20. Oh, this is one with trades. I don't want one with trades. I want just a straight up current draft order one. This is what I was talking about. Oh man, that's crazy. This is literally what I was talking about at the beginning of the show. Like, that bothers me. Why does it have to be that way? So, yeah, you know. No, not with trades. Oh, God, stop being with trades. What's his face? There he is. If he does it with trades, I'm out. All right, there's no trades in this one so far. Yes, sweet. So now we're going to the Cowboys. They pick at 17, and Daniel Jeremiah has them taking CeeDee Lamb. Okay, so they're saying, assuming veteran receiver Amari Cooper departs in free agency, Lamb would be a great fit for Dallas. I don't think he's going to depart. I thought they re-signed him already, but I guess that's where the shtick is coming. And I know the talk about Dak Prescott's contract is a big deterrent to this. So, yeah, I haven't done much research on the Cowboys this year. As you guys know, I enjoy Ezekiel Elliott. I watch the Cowboys, but I'm not an NFL guy. I love the NFL, but I'm not an NFL guy. So, CeeDee Lamb. He's great. I like CeeDee Lamb. I think if you have Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb's not the guy you want to go with. I think you take a burner. I think Ruggs III would be a much better fit there. And if you are going to take another receiver, I'd wait until the second round and try to get, what's his name from TCU, Rager. He is a burner. He's fast, Jalen Rager. He's a very effective wide receiver. I think when you look at under-the-radar receivers in the draft, Jalen Rager falls into that category, unless you're a draft guy. I like Laviska Shenault. He won't make it to the second round, in my opinion. Laviska Shenault's one of the better receiver prospects in this draft. I watched a couple games of him at Colorado. Very talented very talented receiver with very, very poor quarterback play that last year. So it's interesting because Walter Football's the website I found. No, it's not. That is not the website. So we almost figured it out, but it's not the website. It's not Draft Tech either. I don't like Draft Tech all that much either. They try too hard. So, yeah. No, that's not the list. Come on, internet. Why? It refreshed and took away my list. So, you look at the list. The top 5, this is from CBS Sports, is CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs III, T. Higgins, Laviska Shenault. Brandon Ayuk's good, but I think you can do better than that. If I'm the Cowboys and I don't take a receiver in the first round and I still want one, the names I look at are KJ Hamler from Penn State. He's a freak athlete. He's versatile. He can return kicks. He can play inside. He can play outside. He's a very, very good one. If you're going to wait even longer than that, I think Michael Pittman Jr. in the 3rd round is a very legitimate superstar-ready receiver. He did not show up with the flashiest numbers, testing-wise, but he did not mislead you on the film. He ran a time that the film would say is accurate, and he's big, he's physical, he wins those 50-50 balls. He's one of those guys. He's just a really well-rounded receiver. Then we start getting into a lot of names where if they get drafted to the right place, they'll be good. But obviously, if Amari Cooper leaves, it's going to be a position of much greater need. I think with the receivers the Cowboys have, it's a pretty solid build-up with, you got Michael Gallup, you've got, I don't know who's all going to be there still. This one says, Inside the Star says Quintez Cephas, who Jeffrey Okudah said was the best receiver he had to cover. So those are the opportunities. That's my first, it's a fan question. It's my introduction to draft talk. And we'll probably do more segments like that as we go, as I get my research more settled in. But yeah, I think if you're a Cowboys fan and you're looking for that receiver to save your receiver group and your receiver room if he does leave, Amari Cooper, then that first round, this is one of the best receiver drafts in the last decade. So you're not going to miss that much from, let's say, we'll start with Laviska Shenault all the way down to KJ Hill on this list. I even like Gabriel Davis. He's a big receiver. The guy from UCF. Quintez Cephas is a guy who tested well. He's a very talented receiver. Played at Wisconsin, so he never really truly got to flash his abilities with what's-his-face, Hornibrook, and the guy from last year. I'm forgetful today. But my information's still good. And yeah, at the end of the day, I really do think the Cowboys are going to be fine at receiver, regardless of if Amari Cooper leaves. I don't think Amari Cooper is that game-breaking of a receiver. I think he's a talented receiver. I think on a team like the Cowboys, he can be a very good receiver, but I think CeeDee Lamb can produce like him. I think Jerry Jeudy, another Alabama guy, like Amari Cooper was, can produce like him. Henry Ruggs can produce like him. I think, you draft one. If Cooper leaves, you draft one of these guys. You bring Des Bryant back, fill out the room. It's a fun situation. Jalen Reagor is the guy I'd take, keep him in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. KJ Hamler, I like KJ Hamler a lot. And this is going to hurt to say, but Donovan Peoples-Jones isn't the worst option either. So there are a lot of good options, and as you go down through the draft, just remember that this might be the best receiver draft in the last 15 years. That's what everyone's saying. I agree. When Austin Mack's the 43rd best receiver, that says a lot about the depth of this class. So, yeah, that's how I'm going to close out the show today. Shout out to my aunt for the fan question. This is your host, Christopher Rennie. I enjoyed the show, and I don't want to scare you with the virus, and I hate mock drafts. And that's what we're ending on. Follow the show at Chris Rennie Show on Twitter, and like the Mom's Basement Productions Facebook page for all things The Chris Rennie Show. And also, subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already, and rate it. because ratings will drive more traffic to this and, define the conversation topics I want to have. So, as always, thanks for listening. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I will see you guys next week with a special Friday the 13th edition. Adios, muchachos.